So it's quite interesting, this latest discourse around Enugu State's government, Enugu State's House of Assembly, looking to do something about the exorbitant house rent. Not even the rent, let's be clear. It's not even the rent per se. It is the rental agency fees, the caution fees, and the legal fees. That's exactly what the Enugu State government is trying to do through the Enugu State House of Assembly. So a bill has been sponsored by one Mr. Okemba. They want to find a way of legislating over the matter of agency fees. Agents in Enugu are taking as much as 25% to 45% in looking out for accommodation for you. What happens largely in Enugu because of the deficits that comes with housing is that these agents go as far as even conniving with landlords. Not just conniving with landlords, they go far beyond that. Tell the landlords that they want to rent the accommodation for far more than whatever it is that they're proposing that they want to rent it. A landlord wants to put his house at 500,000. Agent comes and says, I'm going to put this at 1.5, and before you know it, the guy rents this place for 1.5, and then they share the proceeds. And upon that, the so-called agent collects 10% from the guy who pays the money. So the tenants are left at the mercy of either agents or the landlord. Sometimes you don't even have to meet the landlords, it's the agents specifically. And the agents are largely not even certified. They are miscreants parading themselves as people who are agents and who are managing people's properties. It is bad. It is an industry, an industry of criminality, packed. I'm not kidding. You see young, vibrant people moving around and saying they are land agents, they are house agents, they're going to look for a house for you and all that thing. It is just so devastating. I'm saying that from a personal experience. I experienced house hunting in the year 2020, and God, oh my God. Before 2020, I experienced house hunting in 2017. And thereafter 2020, it was bad. First time I realized that you don't just rent an accommodation, you also have to pay beyond the fees that these guys take from you. You have to buy drinks for the head of the area, either if it's a security head or if it's a head of the community or something, or the compound. If it is a compound that you stay on, if it's a flat, blocks of flats, the person who is leading, there's always somebody who is the head of the area. You have to buy crates of drinks to go and meet the person and tell them that you are now a member of the community. This is your name. This is where you work. My goodness, these things happen. And God helping you, you now met with some of these people who are really, really bad. These agents who are really, really bad. You're going. When you tell them your specification, tell them, say maybe you're looking for three bedroom apartment located in this area. They'll start showing you one bedroom apartment, and because you are going to their transportation is on your head. Their feeding for that day is on your head. They're going to make sure that they take you round and round and round. And when they now see that you're getting tired, because this taking round and round is not going to be a one-day thing. No. They can take you round and round for up to 3 to 5 days, sometimes 3 to 7 days, looking for accommodation that is not looking for you. So that those days you're going to pay their transport, you're going to pay for their feeding. And then they some of them are very deceitful. They take you round and round for they know the kind of house you're looking for. They know the type. They know your specification. But no, they will take you around to places that you don't like, you didn't ask for. And then when they see that you're getting tired, they'll now start bringing those ones. They'll now start taking to the ones that is close to the ones that you want. And then eventually to the one that you want. But afterwards, you must have spent 5 days, 7 days paying them, giving them food, paying for their transport, and all whatnot. And sometimes even giving them money, like, oh, thank you for today's run around. Take this more urgent 5K, urgent 10K. Thank you for today. God help you, you don't meet those kind of people. Very, very, very deliberating, and it's about time to regulate that space. But it's something that the House of Rep member said, and State House of Assembly member said, that it wasn't going down with me, because we interviewed him on our station, and he said that the legislation is largely on the fees that is being paid to agents, and then the caution fees, and then the legal fees. That is what the legislation. That the legislation is not particularly on the rent. That they cannot determine the amount of monies that agents, like house owners or landowners, or of course landlords, peg their homes. They can't determine that the amount is basically for, you know, the agency fee. And I'm saying that then the case is defeated, because if you are aware, if you have an idea of the fact that landlords sometimes connive with agents and the defraud, you know, tenants, if you are aware of this fact, so why wouldn't you want to legislate on the house rent per se? Because the house rent in itself is where the most monies go to. All right, you don't expect houses built in Transikulu to be the same price with houses built in Ababa, or maybe Nike, or maybe Ugwaji, or maybe Independence Layouts, or maybe New Haven. You don't expect those houses to be the same. You don't expect them to be New Haven extension. You don't expect that the houses, you know, you build in Emene, and you don't expect them to be a certain price that they are in New Haven, or maybe Independence Layout. Their sizes, their styles, and of course their location centric, because again, a place has to be highbrow, this middle class, middle brow, and then the low class. So nobody can start telling me, you can't legislate on it. You can legislate on it. If, for instance, in Independence Layout, you're renting out a 2-bedroom flat, you can peg it between 1 million and 1.7 million, or if it is GRA, you peg it. You know, there's a way you can peg it so that people don't go beyond. But because what we see today, a landlord wakes up because he has built a house, he just arbitrarily wakes up one morning and fixes his own. And because of how people are desperate for homes or a place, they just pay. Before you say Jack Robinson, they just pay. Somebody can pay, and somebody can just decide, you know, to pay for 2 years for accommodation that is not even up to what it should be. So I think that that is the only part that I feel that the lawmaker, you know, was a little bit not clear. I think that when it comes to that deliberation, I wouldn't mind being part of the deliberation. So I also bring up this point, because he was saying that they cannot legislate on landlords fixing their prices for their homes. It's just for these guys. And what if at the end of the day, this same connivance happens? The connivance I'm talking about is the connivance that has to do with the landlord and these guys, the landlord and the agent. What if they connive and then defraud the tenant, which happens anyway? So if you don't do it, if you don't legislate on it, then we're probably just deceiving ourselves. We're not going to have any headway regarding that. So that's my thinking. What do you guys think, though? I mean, it's first of all, it's commendable that someone is thinking that way. But then again, I hope that it's not going to be a cosmetic law, you know. And I hope it doesn't come to that point where it's just going to be about in the newspapers, on the online platforms. They have legislated, they have done first reading. Before you know it, you won't hear anything about it. I know that the governor is passionate about the people, and he probably must have heard about the fact that this particular bill is making rounds, and I'm sure he wants to do something in that regard. But I just hope that some persons don't frustrate it, because the same people who are in that space, that government space, are the same people who own properties who are making this thing difficult for people to get by. Because I don't understand how people are coughing the tune of 2.5 million to rent an accommodation in Enugu. 2.5 million. I'm not talking about 4 rooms or 8 rooms. I'm talking about 2.5 million at Chansekulu with just 3 rooms. 2.5 million rent. Are you guys kidding me right now? Like, where are they getting the money from? Is it like this same Enugu that everybody is screaming, this same Tulumbu economy? No, it is that difficult. It's that tough. And I just hope that things are done quickly. That particular bill is done and done. Let's start from there at least. And then we can move into some other things, so at least people can have a breath of fresh air regarding that. Because imagine this. The government is looking to move from $3.3 billion economy to $30 billion economy. If you don't have a situation where housing is, at least we have low-cost housing that is affordable to people, people will not come and invest their monies in places where they know they cannot stay in a decent accommodation. If you want to have a decent accommodation right now with something within the range of what someone can afford within Enugu in terms of the income that people earn in Enugu, we are talking nothing less than, you are talking around, you are moving towards Nike, Uwaji, upwards. You were talking about Nsukka. And even in Nsukka this day itself, I'm hearing that the house rent in Nsukka now is becoming tremendously crazy. So I just said that to end my thought on this. Tell me what you think on the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching.
Bill. Basically, it was the bill is a product of the desire of the masses of Enugu. They have so much complained and raised alarm over the arbitrary extortions by the agents, and oftentimes with the connivance of the landlords. So it calls for a very serious concern, and we found it very necessary to do something to address that menace.
Okay, I think the first question should have been the complaints, the concerns that got to you, okay, before you began to ponder on sponsoring this bill. What are those concerns of residents and tenants in Enugu?
Yeah, it got so bad because each time we attend public functions, we get our constituents and other residents complain to us, asking what is the House of Assembly, doing, to address this very serious problem. That are we not, in Enugu to really see what the people are going through? So, and in fact, particularly, there's a group of youths that were mobilizing to protest, actually. And when one of them came to my office, a constituent of mine, he told me that they already signed up, mobilized signatories, to protest. And their first port of call will be at the House of Assembly. So I told the young man, Mr. Onyekachi by name, I told him that I already have the draft bill with me, that there won't be any need for them to go and protest. So incidentally, I had it on my table, I just pulled it up and now showed the guy. So it's not a mere talk or political statement, I already done something. In fact, that bill was immediately after our inauguration, I started working on that bill. It has to go through a lot of research. You have to try to call up other, similar, laws from other states and so on. Look at the existing laws we have already, identify where the clauses and particular sections where such amendment could happen, and then come up with that draft bill. So we, out of that. I will call it agitations, even though it hasn't gotten that, viral, but people are already grumbling and, complaining of what they are passing through. So I just found the need to quickly do something to address it.
Is it going to be a mere rhetoric, or are we expecting that it will pass through all the readings and maybe enacted as a law?
I tagged it People's Amendment Bill. So from my perspective, I don't see that bill, being a rhetoric. It's going to go through all the processes, and I can tell you that members of the House of Assembly, all members of the House of Assembly will support this amendment, because few of them already nursing the same idea of doing this. Just that I was working ahead of time, and I started much earlier. So we are expecting to have massive support to get the pass through all the stages. This is just the first reading.
In one of the things that you said earlier, you said that the bill doesn't seek to meddle into the amount of monies that landlords peg their houses, because you don't want to meddle into that. You're talking about just the agencies and the likes. But aren't you going to open that to fraud too? Because you also mentioned that there are fraud in that space. Because when you don't meddle into that, you are leaving it between the same thing we talked about earlier, the landlord and the agent, who comes and says, even those who are certified can even do the same thing these touts are doing. They can say, you know what, landlord, let's do it this way. If you want to put your house at 250, no problem. I can get it done at 500 or at 600. So at what point, really, if you say you're not going to meddle into the amounts that the landlord pegs his house, at what point would you be able to check whether this amount that this house is being pegged is not manipulated?
You forgot that the amendment empowered the MDA to do regulations and make rules. So it's an empowerment, all right? So the law has empowered that MDA to make regulations and rules. So what it means is that they have power to say that this will be like this or that. So that's basically so the law did not go to peg. Just like I said, we don't have to. If you peg it, what it means is that every year you will come to amend and continue to amend, because there is the forces of demand and supply, and then there is also the issue of inflation that we must either going up or going high. So we are experiencing high inflation now. Mind you that in the future we might also notice that the inflation is dropping.
I've never seen that ever happen in
Nigeria.
It's good. Let me tell you, just like the issue of exchange and then high cost of consumer goods. I have listened to a lot of analysts, and they keep lambasting government, this and that. But simple economics will tell you that the moment you have competition, when you open up a market and you have competition, you allow the market to struggle by itself, it tends to gradually bring down the cost. The exchange rate, we have identified that the exchange rate, the bulk of our demand for foreign currency is to procure refined petroleum product. But what has happened recently is that the Dangote, for instance, is now buying crude
in naira.
NNPC has also, they have come to sit up. So that competition between NNPC and Dangote is already bringing down the cost.
Of fuel, yeah.
And then you now notice that the dollar is also gradually, refused to rise up.
Yes.
People already complain, this dollar is no longer going up. But it is the forces of demand, and for the fact that the demand for dollar has dropped. Yeah. And if they maintain that trajectory, that dollar, you just notice that gradually it will start dropping. And along the line, it will affect every other thing. The consumer goods, all these groceries, food that are coming, all of them will start coming down. So don't join those that think that nothing will come down in Nigeria. Seriously, I keep telling people, Nigeria have started getting wet, but we've not started. We don't have the foresight enough to understand that the things happening in Nigeria now is bringing things down. See,